Hello, everyone. My name is Manuel Bittencourt. I'm an economist, born and bred in Brazil. I did my undergraduate studies in Brazil, and then I went to the UK to do my master's and PhD. In 2007, I moved to South Africa. I started my academic career at UCT, and then I moved to Pretoria, and then I went to WITS, and now I'm back at Pretoria. My interests are essentially in macroeconomics, long and short run macro, and also in political economics. And just to give an example of how rich this is, when I was growing up in Brazil, inflation was a big thing. We at some point we had hyperinflation. And understanding inflation, the causes and the consequences of inflation was a great motivation for us to do economics. And inflation is essentially pretty bad for particular outcome variables such as inequality. It affects the poor in a very negative way because the poor usually they hold cash, and with high inflation they are losing money by the hour. And it also affects economic growth because it affects the way people see the future or the expectations, and people end up investing less if inflation is very high because it's very much about uncertainty towards the future. And interestingly enough, back in the day of hyperinflation in Brazil, the Brazilian central bank was not very independent. Actually, it wasn't independent at all, and now it is. So that in itself has been an institutional development that took place after the democratization that took place in the 1990s. So macro and political economics, they do matter, and they matter for economic welfare, they matter for policy, so they matter for society. So I wrote this blog on what is democracy good for in South Africa. And democracies are usually very good at providing public goods. What do we have in mind when we talk about public goods? Well, essentially we have education and health, sometimes also housing, sometimes also transportation. But let's focus on education and health. And since 1994, that's the date of the extension of the franchise in South Africa, the government spending on health and education has actually increased, which is good news. Essentially, it's good news because the government is providing the median voter with education and health. And who is the median voter in South Africa? Well, the median voter in South Africa is probably not a middle-class person, but a person who lives in the township. And that person, those people, they do need education and also health. They need to be educated and healthy in order to start becoming part of this more modern economy that we have in Rosebank or in Sandton or in particular areas of Pretoria or in particular areas of Cape Town and in particular in Joburg. So education and health, which is provided by more democratic governments because they want to appease the median voter, really matters for society. So yes, we've been talking about democracy, we've been talking about the median voter, we've been talking about public goods such as health and education, we've been talking about now we have to talk about the state capacity. Some people will argue that the SARB, which is the Central Bank of South Africa, and the Treasury, they are well staffed. They might well be. But what about the rest? What about the other departments which should be in charge of providing the median voter? Remember, the median voter lives in the township. The median voter with public goods, so that the median voter is able and capable to join modern sectors of the economy, right? Now it is the moment, and also because something else is happening, the ANC is beginning to lose its majority. So the ANC has now more and more incentives to do something good, right? Which is at the moment is really state capacity, and state capacity in order to provide the median voter with public goods. so that the South African democracy becomes more and more entrenched, because democracies which do not provide public goods to the median voter, they do not survive. They do not become entrenched. So yes, what and how can we do this? We have to build a state, an able and capable state that provides the median voter, most of the population, with decent public goods, good education, good health facilities, so that again our population comes from the township well prepared, and instead of working as gardeners, security guards, and cleaners, they start working in more technologically advanced sectors of the economy. But how do we do that? Well, essentially right now we have to provide more and more. We need more and more human capital. For that, we need more and more spending in education, because we need a professional civil service. Democracies have professional civil services, so that it doesn't matter who is in power, which political party is in power, the state is always working for the median voter. We need, again, we don't have a professional civil service, right? We don't. We haven't done that. But we need a professional civil service based on human capital, based on incentives. Human capital and incentives, and a professional civil service, so that public goods can be provided no matter who is in power. Yes, now we have a coalition. Since last year, the ANC has lost its huge majority, right? So there is a government, a coalition, ANC and DA and other smaller parties, but it's essentially the ANC and the DA. And again, now it's time, so that we can reap the benefits in 20, 25, 30 years of building a able and capable, clean as possible, state that serves the median voter, that serves the population at large, no matter. It has to be a professional civil service, so that it doesn't matter who is in power. Is it the ANC? Is it the DA? Is it the EFF? Is it the MK? It doesn't matter. The state will continue working for the population at large, because it's a professional. It's not based on whether you know your local councillor. No, it's based on human capital. It's based on education. It's based on performance. It's based on incentives. It's based on institutions that make the state operate for the population at large. That is democracy. That is provision of public goods. And that's how democracies become entrenched. Thank you.